The Librarian's Grimoire. In the small town of Ravenswood, the public library was a grand, old building, its walls lined with bookshelves that stretched to the high ceilings. The library had been there for centuries, its origins shrouded in mystery. The townsfolk whispered tales of strange occurrences and eerie events tied to the ancient structure, but none were as unsettling as the story of the librarian's grimoire. Mara, a young and ambitious writer, moved to Ravenswood seeking inspiration for her next novel. She had heard about the library and its vast collection of rare books. One stormy afternoon, she decided to explore its dusty aisles, hoping to uncover hidden gems that could spark her creativity. The moment Mara stepped inside, she felt a chill run down her spine. The air was thick with the scent of old paper and the whispers of forgotten stories. She wandered through the labyrinth of bookshelves, her footsteps echoing in the silence. In the farthest corner of the library, she found a section that seemed older than the rest, filled with tomes bound in leather and adorned with strange symbols. There, on a pedestal, lay an ancient book unlike any she had ever seen. Its cover was made of dark, weathered leather, and it was secured with a heavy, rusted lock. The title, Grimoire of the Forgotten, was embossed in faded gold letters. Intrigued, Mara reached out to touch it, and the lock fell open with a soft click. As she opened the book, a cloud of dust rose, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop. The pages were filled with strange, arcane symbols and drawings of eerie creatures. Despite the foreboding aura, Mara felt a compulsion to read on. The text was written in an ancient language, but as she traced her fingers over the symbols, they seemed to rearrange themselves into words she could understand. The grimoire contained spells and incantations, each more bizarre than the last. One page caught her eye, a spell to summon knowledge from beyond the veil of reality. Desperate for inspiration, Mara decided to perform the ritual, believing it would help her write a story that would make her famous. Following the instructions, she gathered the required items: a black candle, a silver knife, and a mirror. That night, as the storm raged outside, Mara performed the ritual in her small apartment. She lit the candle, cut her finger with the knife, and let a drop of blood fall onto the mirror while reciting the incantation. At first, nothing happened. Mara felt foolish, ready to dismiss the ritual as a product of overactive imagination. But as she turned away, the candle flickered wildly, and the mirror began to fog. She watched in horror as a figure emerged from the mist within the glass. It was a dark, shadowy silhouette with eyes that glowed like embers. "Who dares summon me?" a voice echoed from the mirror, cold and menacing. Mara's heart pounded in her chest. I seek knowledge," she stammered. The figure in the mirror seemed to smile, its eyes narrowing. "Knowledge comes at a price, mortal. Are you willing to pay?" Desperation outweighed her fear. "Yes, anything." The figure's smile widened. "Very well. Your wish is granted." With a flash of light, the figure vanished and the mirror shattered. Mara felt a searing pain in her head and collapsed, unconscious. When she awoke, she found herself surrounded by pages of writing. Her mind was filled with stories, ideas, and characters more vivid and compelling than she had ever imagined. She wrote furiously, unable to stop, as if possessed by an unseen force. Her new novel took shape in a matter of days, and it was unlike anything the world had ever read. But with the newfound knowledge came a terrible price. Mara began to hear voices, whispers that echoed in her mind, driving her to the brink of madness. She saw shadows moving in the corners of her vision, and her dreams were filled with nightmares of dark, formless creatures reaching out to her. Unable to bear it any longer, Mara returned to the library, clutching the grimoire. She intended to reverse the spell, hoping to rid herself of the torment. But as she entered the old section, the whispers grew louder, and the air became oppressive. In the dim light, she saw the ghostly figure of a woman standing by the pedestal. It was the spirit of the librarian, a guardian of the grimoire, trapped between worlds for centuries. Her eyes were filled with sorrow and a warning. "You have unleashed something beyond your understanding," the librarian's ghost said. "The knowledge you sought is not meant for the living. It comes from the realm of the damned." Mara begged for a way to undo what she had done, but the librarian shook her head. "There is no undoing. The grimoire binds you now. The only way to escape its curse is to pass it on to another." Realizing the terrible truth, Mara felt a wave of despair. She had to choose between her sanity and the lives of others. In a moment of weakness, she decided to leave the grimoire where she found it, hoping someone else would not fall into the same trap. As she turned to leave, the librarian's ghost whispered one last warning. "Beware the shadows, for they will always follow you." Mara fled the library, but the curse stayed with her. The stories she had written brought her fame and fortune, but at a terrible cost. The shadows never left her, and the whispers continued to haunt her every waking moment. Years passed, and the tale of the bewitched book became a local legend. The library remained, a silent witness to the horrors within. The grimoire waited, its lock deceptively open, ready to ensnare the next unsuspecting soul who sought forbidden knowledge. And so, the cycle continued, as the grimoire of the forgotten claimed victim after victim, each one lured by the promise of greatness, only to be consumed by the shadows that dwelled within its pages. For some books are not meant to be read, and some knowledge is best left forgotten.